And you had a look at the pitch a little earlier, Jim. How was it?
Thanks very much, Richie. With the recent poor weather, the pitch is looking damp. It will be slow and low and frustrating to bat on, especially with the sluggish outfield. So the batsmen will need to get their heads down and work hard. The bowlers should keep the ball up to the bat, as anything short will be easy to hit. Not the ideal pitch, but it should provide an interesting contest. A tough call, perhaps a good toss to lose. Well, that appears to be the state of the pitch. Back to you, Richie.
Kirsten is going to face the first ball of the innings. Srinath to Kirsten. It's straight at Agarkar. That's a lovely way to get off the mark. It's straight at Sehwag. Srinath to bowl to Kirsten. Donald is to open the bowling for South Africa. 306 runs required. Over pitched and driven for 4. That's the first boundary for Sehwag. That's speeding to the boundary. You can't afford to bowl that in there.
That was an excellent shot. Very exciting to watch.
Sehwag waiting at the striker's end. Hit straight to a fielder.
India can't have hoped for a better start. The target's looking very reachable at this rate.
Pollock to begin a new over. Now the run rate stands at just over 6 and over. That's gone high in the air. That's the first boundary for Tendulkar. hop and punish. That ball was at the fence in no time at all.
He played that shot to perfection.
India move on to 16. That over helped the run rate somewhat.
India have made an excellent start to this innings. They're taking full advantage of the field restrictions.
The required run rate is around 6 and over. It's right at the road. That was just a kitten's whisker away from the stumps. Great time, runs wide. Donald to bowl to Sehwag. That's a great shot. That takes him into double figures.
India will be looking to blast away from the start with fielding restrictions in place.
The required run rate has crept up to around 6 and over. It's straight at the road. Short and smash for 4. Tendulkar moves into double figures with those runs. Pollock at the start of his run-up. Pollock is back in the attack. The batsman will have to run these. Pollock to bowl to Sehwag. "46 overs are left for India. Donald to begin a new over. The required run rate is looking more and more out of reach here. Stopped by Kemp. There's a mix-up with the batsman. I think he was easily back in the crease there. Well, that'll certainly beat the fielder into the fence. Tendulkar is looking to punish any short deliveries.
The bowler needs to avoid giving away boundaries, so he must keep it tight.
India have taken their total on to no wicket for 30. Hit straight to a fielder. Tendulkar is now on strike. Hit straight to a fielder. That's the end of the 5th over. Pollock to begin a new over. The required run rate has crept up to around 6 and over. Not timed perfectly, but they'll get some runs anyway. Pollock continues. He looked as if he was home to me. Pollock to Sehwag. Hit straight at Cullis. Pollock to bowl to Sehwag. There's a mix-up with the batsman. He looked as if he was home to me. Pollock at the start of his run-up. That's over the infield and racing away for 4. He picked the length quickly with that one.
That was an excellent shot. Very exciting to watch.
Donald to begin a new over. The required run rate has crept up to around 6 and over. Tendulkar is now facing. Stopped by Rhodes. A very good over. Only 1 offered in the end. Pollock to begin a new over. The required run rate is looking more and more out of reach here. He smashed that one right out of the ground. Well, that nearly joined us up here in the commentary box.
The bowler won't like that one little bit.
Pollock continues. He's got onto that one. Sehwag has moved into the 20s and is starting to look far more relaxed. Pollock continues. There should be some runs here. Picked up on the boundary by Gibbs. I think he was easily back in the crease there. 12 runs were picked up from that over by Pollock. Donald to begin a new over. Now the run rate stands at just over 6 and over. Stopped by Cullinan. Oh, that's a really superb shot. Tendulkar has now moved into the 20s. That brings up the 50 for India. That's gone high in the air. Cullis had a lot of ground to cover there.
Great catch. That sort of thing can turn the course of a match.
Tendulkar has gone for 22.
He played really well out there, but lost his concentration at a vital moment.
The next man in is Laxman. Batsman would have been tempted to have a go at that bouncer.
He's bowling quickly today and has really got his tail up.
Donald to bowl to Laxman. .41 overs are left in the innings. We're about to see the first bowling change. The required run rate is looking more and more out of reach here. Collected by Gibbs. There's a mix-up with the batsman. Stopped by Gibbs. There's a mix-up with the batsman. I think he was easily back in the crease there. That was an athletic stop by the keeper. That's too short, and it's been dispatched for 4. Sehwag really punishes anything short.
He gave the batsman too much room there. 4 runs.
That's the end of the 10th over. Donald to begin a new over. The run rate stands at just under 6 and over. That's a lovely way to get off the mark. Pollock reaches it before it crosses the boundary. India have taken their total on to 1 for 63. Donald continues. Donald continues. Confident appeal. The umpire raised his finger and he's out. Laxman goes for only 2.
I don't think he agrees with the umpire's decision.
Dravid is the next batsman in. Donald gets his 2nd wicket. India 2 down now for 63. Donald at the start of his run-up. Excellent bowling by Donald.
That one went right through him, yet somehow it missed the stumps.
39 overs are left in the innings. Kemp to begin a new over. The required run rate has crept up to around 6 and over. That's gone high in the air. Gave that some fearful hammer.
The bowler needs to avoid giving away boundaries, so he must keep it tight.
Kemp at the start of his run-up. Hit straight to a fielder. There's a mix-up with the batsman. I think he was easily back in the crease there. Donald to begin a new over. The required run rate is looking more and more out of reach here. Stopped by Pollock. Dravid didn't look comfortable against that short ball.
That was a nasty bouncer, really awkward to play, and he had a lot of trouble with it.
Dravid is now facing. Those are the first runs for Dravid. The batsmen are after 2. He's going to have to move here. Well, that has to be close. So then, that's the end of Dravid.
He's back in the pavilion with a big round 0 to his name.
Ganguly comes in at number 5. Ganguly is off the mark. So they need 2-3-6 to win from 2-2-3 balls. Sehwag waiting at the striker's end. That's too short. 4 runs. He's timing the ball perfectly today.
Perfectly played. He got right over that ball and played it with a nice straight bat.
Kemp to begin a new over. The required run rate is around 6 and over. Not timed perfectly, but they'll get some runs anyway. I think he was easily back in the crease there. They have 37 overs to get. 2-3-1. Sehwag is now facing. The fielder will cut that off. India are 3 for 76. It's in the air. That's the first boundary for Ganguly. Ganguly couldn't be tempted into hooking that one.
He doesn't look too comfortable against the short ball.
36 overs are left in the innings. The required run rate is looking more and more out of reach here. Donald continues. Sehwag waiting at the striker's end. That's gone high in the air. Sehwag really punishes anything short.
That was beautifully played. He was well over the top of the ball.
Donald to bowl to Sehwag. It's beaten the fielder, but it won't go all the way. Donald to bowl to Ganguly. Played into the gap. Kemp to bowl to Sehwag. The required run rate has crept up to around 6 and over. It's beaten the fielder, but it won't go all the way. Crowd are standing to applaud him. There's his half century. Ganguly facing. That's racing away to the fence. That takes him into double figures. Hit straight at Cullis. Kemp is back in the attack. Stopped in the covers. 34 overs are left in the innings. Donald to begin a new over. The required run rate is looking more and more out of reach here. Play it away with comfort. It's beaten the fielder, but it won't go all the way. India have taken their total on to 3 for 92. Sehwag facing. He's worked that into the gap. .33 overs are left in the innings. Kemp to begin a new over. The required run rate has crept up to around 6 and over. Not by line perfectly, but they'll get some runs anyway. Kemp to Sehwag. Well played, but the fielder will drop that one off. It's high in the air. But rock of the fence.
That was good bat. He picked his spot, didn't try to smash it, just rode through the gap.
Stopped by Cullis. 32. Overs are left for India. Donald to begin a new over. Wide Raiders crept up to around 6 and over. Donald to Sehwag. Steered expertly in the gap. Straight to a fielder. I think he was easily back in the crease there. That moves the score into 3 figures for India. Donald to Sehwag. A nice shot, but it won't make it to the boundary. Yeah. 31 overs are left in the innings. Kemp to begin a new over. The required run rate has crept up to around 6.5 and over. Stopped by Gibbs. Kemp to bowl to Sehwag. Great shot by Sehwag. That really was excellent timing.
He gave the batsman too much room there. 4 runs.
Sehwag is now facing. Super wicket keeping. That's the end of the 20th over. We're about to see a change in the bowling. The required run rate is looking more and more out of reach here. 3 for 107.
Wide.
Play it away with comfort. Batsmen are coming back for 2. A very good over. Only 1 offered in the end. Kemp to begin a new over. The required run rate is looking more and more out of reach here.
Wide.
stopped by Rhodes. India have taken their total on to 3 for 108. That's gone high in the air. Well, that was 6 as soon as he hit it.
Great strike. It looked like 6 the moment he struck it.
The total is now 3 for 104. Ganguly facing. Safely taken by Gibbs.
The fielder did well there. He made it look easy, but it was a difficult catch to take.
Ganguly eventually goes for 23.
He didn't seem to have any problems once he got his eye in, so he'll be disappointed to get out now.
The new batsman is the left-handed Badani. Kemp gets his first wicket. India 4 down now for 114. Adams, the bowler's wrist spin. The required run rate is looking more and more out of reach here. That's gone high in the air. Badani waiting at the striker's end. That's a lovely way to get off the mark. 4 for 116. Play it away with comfort. Well played, but the fielder will cut that one off. Yeah. 27 overs are left in the innings. Kemp to begin a new over. The required run rate has crept up to around 6.5 and over. I think he was easily back in the crease there. Kemp continues. The fielder will cut that off. That's gone high in the air. Batsmen are looking for 3. The sweeper picks up. Badani facing. I think he was easily back in the crease there. over the top and away for 4. That takes him into double figures. Adams, the bowl is wrist spin. The run rate stands at just under 6.5 and over. Well played, but the fielder will cut that one off. There's a mix-up with the batsman. The batsman will have to be more careful now, having got away with that. It's high in the air. Adams is not impressed.
He dispatched that for 4 with great confidence.
The total is now 4 for 133. Adams is back in the attack. That's the halfway mark, 25 overs. Kemp to begin a new over. The required run rate has crept up to around 6.5 and over. Sehwag facing. Hit straight to a fielder. Pushed into the gap. Pollock out at long off. That's straight up in the air. Great job done by the fielder in the deep. .24 overs are left for India. The required run rate is looking more and more out of reach here. It's straight at Klusener. Gibbs is not going to reach that. That really was excellent timing.
That was a good shot. He saw it early and got into position quickly.
So they need 167 to win from 142 balls. Adams continues. Adams continues. So they need 166 to win from 140 balls. Play it away with comfort. Adams is back in the attack. That's racing away for 4. That really was excellent timing.
Well, that was much too short from the bowler. 4 runs.
12 runs came from that over. Kemp to bowl the last of his allotted overs. The run rate stands at just under 6.5 and over. That's gone high in the air. He hit that with awesome power.
That was an excellent shot. Very exciting to watch.
The total is now 4 for and 50. Kemp continues. Stopped by Donald. Badani is now on strike. Kemp had the batsman in a lot of trouble with that one. 4. Now for 151. Overpitched and smashed the 4. Badani has now moved into the 20s. Kemp is beginning to lose his line and length. .22 overs are left in the innings. Adams, the bowler's wrist spin. Now the run rate stands at just over 6.5 and over. Well played, but the fielder will cut that one off. Adams to bowl to Badani. Great shot by Badani. He's timing the ball perfectly today.
That was a great shot to watch. He just leant into it and stroked it to the boundary for 4.
Sehwag waiting at the striker's end. Well, that's found the gap in the field. Badani is now facing. Stopped by Kemp. 21 overs are left in the innings. South Africa are making a change in the bowling. Now the run rate stands at just over 6.5 and over. They have 21 overs to get 141. Out, 4.
Wonderful catch. He did fantastically just to get near it, let alone hang on to it.
Sehwag is finally out for 76. That was a fine innings from Sehwag.
That was a big innings, absolutely priceless too.
Mongia comes in at number 7. That's the first runs of the day for Mongia. It's in the air. He found the gap with precision.
He played that shot perfect.
That's the end of the 30th over. Adams, the bowl is wrist spin. The run rate stands at just under 6.5 and over. Adams at the start of his run-up. The batsman will have to run these. The batsmen are coming back for a second. Mongia is now facing. I think he was easily back in the crease there. Pushed into the gap. India have taken their total on to 5 for 175. Badani is now on strike. It looked as if he was home to me. India are 5 for 176. He's worked that into the gap. "19 overs are left in the innings. Cullis to begin a new over. The required run rate is looking more and more out of reach here. Stopped by Pollock. He's worked that into the gap. The batsmen are coming back for a second. .125 runs required. He's got it into the gap. Mongia facing. Cullis to bowl to Mongia. Out. He's been caught.
The batsman won't expect to hold like that.
Mongia has gone for 7. Agarkar comes in at number 8. Change bowling. South Africa. Wide run rate is tripped up around 6.5 and over. That's straight up in the air.
There's a perfect example of how to play that shot. He deserves 4 runs.
The score is now 6 for 186. There it goes. Badani really takes advantage of anything over pitch.
The drive is a beautiful shot that once played well, and that was a perfect example.
played, but the fielder will cut that one off. Comfortably held by Ellis.
Straight down the fielder's throat. The batsman will be kicking himself.
Badani eventually goes for 42. That was a useful innings by Badani.
Now we're down to 9-10 Jack.
The next batsman in is a right-handed Khan. Seventeen overs are left for India. Collis to begin a new over. The run rate stands at just under 6.5 and over. Out, caught. Khan makes his way back to the dressing room.
The batsman will be kicking himself over that. It wasn't a great shot and he looked to be in good form. Well, he hasn't troubled the scorers with that innings.
Kumble is the new batsman for India. Collis gets his third wicket. India are 8 down now for 191. Those are the first runs for Kumble. That's a lovely way to get off the mark. The batsmen are looking for 2. Collis to Agarkar. A nice shot, but it won't make it to the boundary. Klusner to begin a new over. The required run rate has crept up to around 6.5 and over. He smashed that one right out of the ground. He smashed that right out of the ground.
That's a demoralising sight for any bowler, seeing the ball sail over the fence.
8 for 1. That's too short, and it's been dispatched before. Agarkar moves into double figures with those runs. It's straight to a fielder. It's in the air. The batsmen are coming back for a second. Great job done by the fielder in the deep. There's a mix-up with the batsman. A cracking stroke. Perfectly timed shot for 4.
That was a really good shot. He looks in top form out there.
Klusner at the start of his run-up. That's the end of the 35th over. Collis to begin a new over. The required run rate is around 6 and over. pushed into the gap. .93 runs required. That's too short. 4 runs. Agarkar has moved into the 20s and is starting to look far more relaxed. Agarkar is now on strike. Well taken by Belcher. Collis is back in the attack. Collis continues. Well, that'll beat the fielder. He watched that onto the bat perfectly.
Cracking shot. The secret there was that he got his feet into position early and had plenty of time to play the shot.
That over cost 10 runs. Klusner to begin a new over. The required run rate is around 5.5 and over. They have 14 overs to get. 83. Well, that's found the gap in the field. He looked as if he was home to me. Klusner to bowl to Kumble. The total is now 8 for 227. Ouch, that must have hurt. Collis to begin a new over. The required run rate is looking more and more out of reach here. Great shot by Agarkar. That was a really confident shot.
Perfectly played. He got right over that ball and played it with a nice straight bat.
Cracking stroke. He picked the length quickly with that one.
He really laid into that delivery. 4 runs all the way.
India 8 for 236. That was very close to the stumps. 9 runs came from that over by Collis. Klusner to begin a new over. Now the run rate stands at just over 5.5 and over.
He's consistently bowling wide and really needs to sort out his line.
India 8 for 239. India have taken their total on to 8 for 240. These two batsmen have taken the 9th wicket partnership on to 50. It's straight at Rhodes. Oh, that's close. The umpire turned that one down, but it did look very close. The bowler looked really disappointed. Klusner continues. He's worked that into the gap. "11 overs are left for India. We're about to see a change in the bowling. The required run rate is around 5.5 and over. I think he was easily back in the crease there. That's cleared the infield. It's the first boundary for Kumble. Pollock to bowl to Kumble. There it goes. That takes him into double figures. Pollock is beginning to lose his line and length. Pollock to bowl to Kumble. That's the end of the 40th over. Klusner to begin a new over. Now the run rate stands at just over 5 and over. Not timed perfectly, but they'll get some runs anyway. Steered expertly into the gap. Klusner is back in the attack. He looked as if he was home to me. There should be some runs here. Cracking stroke. Wasn't a very good delivery.
That was a nicely timed shot. You don't need to smash the ball to the boundary every time.
9 overs are left for India. Pollock to begin a new over. Now the run rate stands at just over 4.5 and over. The batsman didn't look at all comfortable there. Super wicket keeping. They have 9 overs to get. 45. The fielder will cut that off. Pushed into the gap. What an amazing catch.
For those of you watching at home, that's a good example of how to take a catch.
So then, that's the end of Kumble. Srinath is the new batsman for India. Pollock gets his first wicket. India, a 9 down now for 263. Srinath facing. That's the first runs of the day for Srinath. The batsman will have to run these. The required run rate has crept up to around 5 and over. There's a mix-up with the batsman. A nice shot, but it won't make it to the boundary. Agarkar waiting at the striker's end. Well, that's found the gap in the field. Pollock to Agarkar. The required run rate has crept up to around 5 and over. It's straight at Klusner. Pollock at the start of his run-up. India have taken their total on to 9 for 268. Agarkar waiting at the striker's end. Well, that's found the gap in the field. This is a really vital innings by Agarkar. That brings up his half-century.
He's looked in good form and needs to build on this now.
Pollock at the start of his run-up. 6 overs are left for India. The required run rate is looking more and more out of reach here. He's gone over the top with that, and it looks like 4 runs. That's the first boundary for Srinath. So they need 32 to win from 33 balls. There it goes. Well played, but the fielder will cut that one off. There's a mix-up with the batsman. That's the end of the 45th over. The new batsman comes in at the non-striker's end. The required run rate is around 5.5 and over. There'll be runs here. Pollock to bowl to Srinath. That's a great shot. That takes him into double figures. Pollock continues. Pollock is back in the attack. That's too short, and it's been dispatched before. That was a real textbook shot.
That was a beautiful front foot shot. The timing was spot on.
India have taken their total to 9 for 286. Pollock is back in the attack. It's straight to a fielder. Agarkar waiting at the striker's end. The new batsmen won't face for the time being. The required run rate is around 4.5 and over. Srinath to Agarkar. He's worked well in that gap. Klusner to Srinath. Klusner at the start of his run-up. Srinath now facing. Hit straight to a fielder. Play it away with comfort. The required run rate has crept up to around 4.5 and over. It's in the air. The crowd were brought to their feet by that shot.
For all the kids watching out there, that is a perfect example of how to play the shot.
India move on to 9-5. Srinath is now facing. It's straight to a fielder. Pollock continues. Two overs are left for India. The new batsman won't face for the time being. The required run rate is looking more and more out of reach here. Play it away with comfort. Klusner at the start of his run-up. That's straight up in the air. Dropped. Now for 9-6.
What a nightmare. That ball went miles up, but he really should have caught it.
Klusner is back in the attack. It's straight at Rhodes. Srinath waiting at the striker's end. He's going to have to move here.
Great fielding. That was a superb throw.
So to sum up then, South Africa win by 8 runs. Let's take a look at how the innings have gone so far. Klusner now has figures of 8 overs, 1 for 60.